Welcome back and thank you for still staying with us on Leader Network. Remember, you're tuned to The Apprentice. Thank you so much, ma'am, for still staying with us. Now, you were able to transition from what your mommy had before you, which was a retail business, basically supplying envelopes, and now you have a conglomerate, which you do now, which is, it has footprints in about 10 African countries, which definitely is a big deal. You have different varieties of envelopes that you produce. So have you been able to move from a small scale business to a large scale business?
It's always good to have a dream and make sure your dream is being actualized, not procrastinating. In the sense that when I joined the business, I was happy for what the business turned out to be. But I want to surpass my mother.
You wanted more.
I wanted more. I want to be a big woman. I want to fly. So I now sat down. How do I do it? What do I do? What came up to my mind is that my mother was just selling the envelopes. Why can't I make it? At the end of the year, we are being given air condition or motorcycle as the best distributor of the year. But I wanted more than that. I want to be an industrialist. I want to make these envelopes. I went back to England. I went to this trade fair and I was able to see machines that makes envelopes. I asked questions and I was able to get machines that makes envelopes. I now came back. When I came back, when I told my mother that I want to make envelopes, and I also want to be buying the papers you sell. I want to be buying it abroad myself. The first thing my mother said is, "Come, see me, Layo. Do you mind if I say what she told me in vernacular?"
Oh, yeah, sure.
She said, "Layo, má yẹ kí n kọjá àsọ̀ ìyá mi o." That is, I don't want to walk past my mother's store. That why are you so ambitious? I said, "Don't worry, it will be fine." He said, "No. The only reason why you were able to come back and see this business like this is because I was less ambitious." It became a tug of war because she refused. Then I now told her that. And I took the Bible and I gave it to her. That why don't you look at me as a prodigal daughter? Give me worth of $20,000. You know, $20,000 then was big money. Give me worth of $20,000. If I fail, let me come back and kneel down as a prodigal daughter. Reluctantly, I'll use that word. Reluctantly, she gave me the $20,000. I now ordered the papers. Fortunately, even before we took custody of the of the papers we ordered. Customer paid for it, cash, upfront. Those mothers, they don't want to. They will be making yanga. They don't want to. How do I put it? They don't want to praise you, but they know that you have made the right.
Typical African parents.
Yes. He now came back. Okomi, that is my husband. Oh, they bought all the papers. Like we made about 120% profit. Like, why don't I give you 40,000? Let us order another one. So that was how we started the merchandising aspects of it. That was how we started turning it over. And that was how she stopped buying locally.
So proof of concept, higher risk, higher reward.
Yes.
But higher risk could also mean, a terrible situation for the business.
Yeah, but
you were sort of convinced that this will work.
Yes, it's a calculated risk.
You said you had done your research.
I've done my cost benefit analysis on it.
But how did you get all of that? Was it from just working with your mother that you were able to know how to do your cost benefit analysis, things like that, or you took a course? How did you get so much wealth of knowledge?
I'd like to borrow a leaf from what Mommy Sholanke told us that day. We should learn to cultivate the habit of reading and research. I didn't go for any training. I've done my research. I read and I've calculated. I know what the tariff is, and I knew the profits I am going to make. I was so sure about what I
just needed funding after.
I just needed funding after the research. So that was how the merchandising aspects came up. Then when it comes to the manufacturing aspects, how I became an industrialist, I knew that it will get to a stage that trading, there will be a question mark in every economy. And it's always good to look back at backward integration. Because the only way you can sustain a business is for you to do new things.
Be
innovative. Do new things all the time. So that's the only way you can be on top. So I told my mother that day that I want to be making envelopes. She said,
you move from merchandising, now she's talking about making envelopes.
But she couldn't tell me total no. Because she knew then that I've been able to
show some results.
Yes, there were some success.
Right.
Because as a daughter, you cannot just be telling your mother, mommy do this, mommy do that. It will get to a stage, if it is a continuous success, your parents will listen to you. It got to a stage in FAE that whenever they want to make any decision, my mother will not make that decision. She will tell anybody, no matter how big you are, that you need to wait for Layo. Whatever Layo says is the final. which is what is happening here. I don't make decision alone just because I'm Leke's mom.
Right.
No. I must get his consent. Not because he's controlling me, but two heads
Always better than one.
are always better than one. I told her, well, okay. Are you sure this business will be successful? I said, don't worry.
Don't worry, to be
It
successful.
will be successful. And I brought in, I think I had two that I brought in there. My dear, Irene, Abi,
Yes, mommy.
I hope I'm not jumping the questions, but those two machines was as old as my grandmother. I've never heard it in my life that Oyinbo duped. I was duped.
Wow. I mean, you're already responding to my next question, which was some of your toughest business challenges.
Yes, he sent me a very, very old machine. I mean, I'm new in this business. I need to be innovative. I need to make something. I want to rub shoulders with envelope manufacturers in Europe, and you now brought me this machine. I mean, it was my worst experience. I sum up courage. I went back to him. He didn't even run away. You can't believe it. He didn't run away. If he ran away, I would say there's a problem. He told me he's sitting like this, I'm sitting like this. He said he's sorry that he's gone bust and there's nothing I can do about it. So, a young lady that um, does not have experience, and then I was I was demoralized. I I still have my mother to report to. That it's I looked at it as a disgrace. I looked at it as a failure. That what do I tell my mom?
I mean, you've been doing so well.
I've been doing so well, this and that. I came back to Nigeria. I reported the case to Federal Ministry of External Affairs. Well, they sent somebody from Abuja for inspection to come and see what was supplied. They took it up with the British High Commission then. But my dear, nothing came out of it.
So that was a loss for your business.
That was a loss. But I did not. I had the determination that it must work. I had the determination that I must manufacture envelopes. And I sum up courage. I took a loan from I don't know, maybe, I think she must be a young girl then. I took a loan from the good old Owena Bank. I don't know, maybe you know that bank, but the older generation knows Owena Bank very well. They used to be at Allen Avenue then. And I brought in another machine, very good, modern, sophisticated, which I was happy.
And you were able to service the loan.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. Um, um, I brought it in, I did the installation. Immediately after the installation, my mother died. It was a serious setback because I've never operated alone. I've always had somebody
Behind you.
behind me, and we couldn't take off. We couldn't take off because I must confess I was a pampered child. I love my mother so much, and I've never in my life seen somebody you are talking with and you are saying, and the person cannot talk. No response, nobody to cry on the shoulder, everything. I was lonely. Yes, my husband was there, but I was too involved with my mother. So it's like half part of me was gone because I was really emotionally attached to my mother, and for almost a year I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
It was challenging. Um, I then too I had some health issues, not health issues from birth, but because I couldn't I couldn't face it that this is the reality of what was happening, and that's why I've learnt my lesson. I don't want to be too emotionally attached to my children now because it's
You
not
didn't have the best experience, and
yeah,
you don't wish that
yes,
on.
and I don't want that to happen to my children because it was a serious thing to deal
I can
with
imagine.
then. So, but later, thank God for good people around. Thank God, which I will also say, to have a good husband who can bear with you and cheer you up.
The husband who you wrote about 6 love letters
Yes,
to,
yes,
7 your uncle found.
yes. And he was, he was the one talking to me almost every day. Are you going to? Is this the way
Yes.
you want FAE to end? Why are you doing this to yourself? But to God be the glory. I was able to start production. And here we are today.
Today. Excellent, excellent. And I mean, last in 2020, there was also the pandemic, which was quite challenging for big businesses, small businesses. How were you able to navigate through that challenge?
Well, the pandemic affected almost every business. There was a time everything
It was basically
was
shut down.
basically shut down. But we give God the glory, and that is where research comes in again. I'm sorry to be repeating
No, it's fine.
myself. You need to always read. Um, we have a product, we maybe call it tamper-proof envelope that cannot, you can't tear it. Tamper-proof envelope does not does not tear. I'll go back to the envelope itself, but I need to answer your question how I was able to survive the pandemic. I now started researching. I called my son that what do we do? Is this how we are going to? The thing went on for
For a year.
for a year. What do we do? there must be a way out. And I discovered that this material is what is being used by the doctors, by not only doctors, by people taking care of sick.
The COVID patients, the PPE that they were wearing.
Yes, the PPP they were wearing. And oh wow. And I was able to um, talk to a tailor, and I paid her some money, brought brought her to my factory. We saw some
PPEs.
PPAs for some doctors, and we're making our money during the pandemic. So that was how FAE was able to survive
That period.
that period. And you know, that period, if you are doing essentials, you'll be able to
Move around.
move around.
Yes,
So
yes,
that
yes.
was how we were able to make money during the pandemic.